Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
So we're doing things a little different this week and maybe for, or this reading and maybe for a couple of weeks, because Krishna has arranged for myself and Bhava Bhakti to be in the mood of separation. I am currently in London and she is in
New York. New York. So good they named it twice.
London's so good they only need to name it once. Anyhow, so here we are on Zoom. Not sure this is our first time doing it like this, so we're not sure how you're going to be seeing it, but hopefully you can also see on the screen the verse, which might be an added bonus for all of you. So we're going to leave that on and we'll start as we normally do. So go ahead, Bob.
Canto 4, chapter 20, text 22.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
All right, text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead stood with his lotus feet almost touching the ground while he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, the enemy of the snakes. Maharaj Prithu, wiping the tears from his eyes, tried to look upon the Lord, but it appeared that the king was not fully satisfied by looking at him. Thus the king offered the following prayers. Purport. A significant point in this verse is that the Lord was standing above the ground, almost touching it. The residents of the upper planetary systems, beginning from Brahmaloka, the planet where Lord Brahma lives, down to Swargaloka, the heavenly planet of Indra, are so advanced in spiritual life that when they come to visit this or other similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, he sometimes plays as if one of the demigods of this universe. When he first appeared before Prithu Maharaj, he was not touching the ground of this earth, but when he was fully satisfied with the behavior and character of Maharaj Prithu, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan from Vaikuntha. Out of affection for Prithu Maharaj, he touched the earth, but he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down, since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on earthly ground. These are all symptoms of his great affection for Prithu Maharaj. Perceiving his fortunate position, Prithu Maharaj could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still in a faltering voice he began to offer prayers.
Wow. Powerful.
So the first thing that comes to mind is Guru Das Prabhu, who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who was married to Yamuna Devi, famous Govindam praise singer. So if you read his autobiography, he does say in that when he saw Prabhupada, and whether it was I don't think it was the first time or maybe in India, but he does write in that book, he did not see his feet touch the ground. Meaning there are moments where he saw his feet did not touch the ground. He does attest to that. And I believe it may have been in India, and they were walking in Vrindavan, even they were walking through like the sand and that, and there were no footprints in the ground, and he wasn't walking on the ground. Yeah, there were no footprints as well. I remember that, so that's what I remembered when I read this. Prabhupada is clearly not of this world, material world. clearly. So yeah, just thinking how glorious is Prabhupada in that sense. But I thought it was cute the way Prabhupada saying in the purport that because Lord Vishnu is not used to standing on the earthly ground, he had to leave Garuda a bit. You know, I just thought that was a bit, because Vishnu don't need any help either way. I just thought a nice little leela, like nice little pastime that, oh, and let me lean on Garuda a bit because I'm feeling a bit, you know, unsteady. Like, you know, yourself, I feel a bit unsteady on my feet.
Yeah.
It's nice. And I think the third point quickly is that this pastime of, you know, it can be seen like injustice or it's not fair, and like we're saying, Indra, you know, he acts like a spoiled kid and he gets what he wants. But it's interesting in Krishna consciousness, it's not black and white. And oh, I've lost the
Yeah, I just touched the screen and it went off.
oh
Okay,
my
go
goodness,
go
being
ahead. Carry on.
interrupted. All right. So now you made me forget.
Go on. You were saying Prabhupada said.
You don't even remember yourself because oh my days, it was a good point. Oh yeah, okay, I remember it now. And I wasn't saying Prabhupada. I was saying that this pastime can be perceived as being not so fair, in that Prithu Maharaj was rightfully doing the sacrifices, and it appears like Indra won because the boss himself, that is Lord Vishnu, comes down and says, back off, Prithu, and almost seems to like tell him, behave yourself, you know, to Prithu. But as you can see, as we read in this verse, some of the verses for this verse and that, actually Lord Vishnu is very pleased with Prithu Maharaj and is giving special favor. And we can see, therefore, it's not black and white of, no, if he doesn't get to do the horse sacrifices and if Indra doesn't get banished to the lower regions, then it wasn't fair. But actually, it may appear on the surface, yeah, he never did get, you know, that Prithu Maharaj, he never did do his 100 horse sacrifices, but actually at the end of the day, he pleased the Lord. He actually pleased. And isn't that why we do what we do, chant Hare Krishna and try to understand the Bhagavatam and try to do some service and please the Guru, because we're trying to please Krishna. So he actually got the favor of the Lord. And so who cares about horse sacrifices?
Yeah, brilliant point. Brilliant point. Especially the last one. Yeah, and it is very, very important point. Yeah, I like that a lot, that in life in general, it can things can sometimes seem unfair.
Yeah.
But then there's the famous saying that if it, what is it? Something like if it's not a happy ending, then it isn't it hasn't ended yet, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And
I know.
huh?
Something like it's not over.
Yeah.
It
If
has, yeah.
it's not a happy ending, then it's not over. But
Um,
um but yeah, in actual fact, we see that Prithu Maharaj is very, very dear to Lord Vishnu, to Krishna, and he
yeah.
is, yeah, I mean, coming to even try and stand on the earth, you know, just to be with him, kind of thing, and
Yeah.
show how pleased he is. But that point also kind of bewildered me a little bit, because kind of makes out that he doesn't usually stand on the earth. And I was thinking, yeah, but Krishna like walked on the earth and did so many things. Now, maybe his feet also were never apparently touching the earth, but yeah, you know, if like you said, Prabhupada's feet didn't touch the earth, then you know, how could Krishna's feet ever touch the earth? But yeah, nice. I really like that last point, especially. Very nice. Okay, shall we read on?
Yes.
So text 23, and yeah, my dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods. So this is where the prayers start. My dear Lord, you are the best of the demigods who can offer benedictions. Why, therefore, should any learned person ask you for benedictions meant for living entities bewildered by the modes of nature? excuse me, such benedictions are available automatically, even in the lives of living entities suffering in hellish conditions. My dear Lord, you can certainly bestow merging into your existence, but I do not wish to have such a benediction. Interesting. Okay. There are different kinds of benedictions according to a person's demands. Excuse me. For karmis, the best benediction is promotion to the higher planetary systems, where the duration of life is very long and the standard of living and happiness is very high. There are others, namely Gyanis and Yogis, who want the benediction of merging into the existence of the Lord. This is called Kaivalya. The Lord is therefore addressed as Kaivalya Pati, the master or Lord of the benediction known as Kaivalya. But devotees receive a different type of benediction from the Lord. Devotees are anxious. Devotees are anxious, neither for the heavenly planets nor for merging into the existence of the Lord. Strange way to write that. The devotees are anxious, neither. You just say the devotees are neither anxious, neither anxious. Yeah.
Yeah.
According to devotees, Kaivalya, or merging into the existence of the Lord, is considered as good as hell. The word Naraka means hell. Similarly, everyone who exists in this material world is called Narak. Narak. So Narak means hell, and Naraka mean because this material existence itself is known as a hellish condition of life. Prithu Maharaj, however, expressed that he was interested neither in the benediction desired by the karmis nor that desired by the Gyanis and Yogis. Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Prabhu, that's interesting. Prabhupada is saying Prabhu, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, described that Kaivalya is no better than a hellish condition of life. And as for the delights of the heavenly planets, they are factually will-o'-the-wisps or phantasmagoria. They are not wanted by devotees. Devotees do not even care for the positions held by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva, nor does a devotee desire to become equal with Lord Vishnu. As a pure devotee of Lord Prithu, as a pure devotee of the Lord, Prithu Maharaj made his position clear. Okay, so the main point is Prithu Maharaj's refusion of, wanting to merge into the body of the Lord or have the same body as the Lord or, like that. He just, he's saying, why would anyone ask you for a benediction when that's meant for lower living entities? So it's interesting because, as you were mentioning earlier, he was performing these yagas. We hope that he's doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, but in one sense, I think it's stated in the purports that he also did have a fruitive mentality. And also, as you remember, when we were reading through this, we realized that he dealt with Bhumi Devi, Mother Earth, a little harshly. This was our extrapolation. It didn't necessarily come from acharyas, but it seemed that he dealt with Bhumi Devi. He was in a certain mood and in a certain space, but acharyas do. Prabhupada definitely mentions that he had a fruitive mentality, and so that was getting thwarted. So it's interesting here that he brings that up, that no one should approach you with a fruitive mentality. So like that. Okay. Any comments? You want to read the next one? Or?
No comment.
No comment.
Right. Verse 24. My dear Lord, I therefore do not wish to have the benediction of merging into your existence, a benediction in which there is no existence of the nectarian beverage of your lotus feet. I want the benediction of at least 1 million ears, for thus I may be able to hear about the glories of your lotus feet from the mouths of your pure devotees.
That's like that verse from Rupa Goswami, right? he prays for thousands of ears and thousands of tongues. Anyway, yeah.
Purport. In the previous verse, Maharaj Prithu addressed the Lord as Kaivalya Pati, the master of the liberation of merging into his existence. This does not mean that he was anxious for Kaivalya liberation. That is made clear in this verse. My dear Lord, I do not want such a benediction. Maharaj Prithu wanted to have 1,000,000 ears to hear the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. He specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord should emanate from the mouths of pure devotees who speak from the cause of their hearts. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3, Sukha Mukhad Amrita Drava Samyutam. The nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam becomes more relishable because it emanated from the mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. One might think that these glories of the Lord can be heard from anywhere from the mouths of either devotees or non-devotees, but here it is specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord must emanate from the mouths of pure devotees. Sanatan Goswami are strictly prohibited hearing from the mouth of a non-devotee. There are many professional reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam who speak the narrations very ornamentally. Pure devotee does not like to hear from them because such glorification of the Lord is simply a vibrational material sound. But when heard from the mouth of a pure devotee, glorification of the Lord is immediately effective. Yeah, it reminds me of when I was a kid, and there used to be a lot of holy people coming to South London. They used to hold like a week's worth of Ram Katha. I think it was mainly Ram Katha. Anyway, so my parents would go, my relatives. But it was interesting and I had to go because I was so young, so they wouldn't leave me at home, and I was so bored. But
This
yeah,
was at the Tuning Radha Krishna temple, right?
no, there was other halls.
Oh,
Sometimes there. But it was interesting because it always felt like, because obviously I sat on the ladies' side with my mom and that, and people were just catching up and maybe a little bit of gossip as well. You know how the aunties get together it didn't, as a kid, I mean, okay, I was just a kid, but it felt very social. It felt like a very social thing. It didn't have like that same sort of like, there's a certain vibe when it's very pure, as it were, when it felt almost like it's a pious thing to do. This person is here from India and it was advertised and everything. So that's what you do. And yeah, if that makes sense. I'm just saying that when Prabhupada speaks about professional reciters, you have
okay.
experience of that, going to those things and just someone speaking on and on and on for about 5 days, and it was very austere.
Well, what's ironic is then later in life you went on yatras with your spiritual master and would listen to him for like 7 to 10 days speak.
In boiling hot sun.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, the words satam prasangan mama virya sambida, Bhagavatam 3:25-25, mean that glorification of the Lord is potent when uttered from the mouth of a pure devotee. The Lord has innumerable devotees all over the universe, and they have been glorifying the Lord since time immemorial and for an unlimited time. But still they cannot completely finish enumerating the glories of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj therefore wanted innumerable ears, as Rupa Goswami, there you go, also desired to have millions of ears and millions of tongues to chant and hear the glorification of the Lord. In other words, if our ears are always engaged in hearing the glorification of the Lord, there will be no scope for hearing the Mayavad philosophy, which is doomed to spiritual progress. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if anyone hears from a Mayavadi philosopher preaching about the activities of the Lord, even if it is a description from the Vedic literature, he is ultimately doomed. That's heavy. By hearing such Mayavad philosophy, one can come to the destination of spirit. By hearing such Mayavad philosophy, one cannot come to the destination of spiritual perfection of life. Very powerful. That is very powerful. And of course, we're reading at the moment in the Nectar of Instruction, and every opportunity Prabhupada gets to discuss the adverse effects of associating with Mayavadis or associating with atheistic class of people, associating with but especially Mayavadis, then he does. So I am going to try to stop the share now.
Okay.
And let's see. Okay, so now we're both on the screen. I'm going to change mine to gallery view in case.
What's he doing?
Okay. All right, so yeah. Nice to see you. I mean, I could see you before, but I couldn't see myself, which isn't a problem. But yeah. Anyway, very nice verses. Very nice realization. I really appreciated that. Yeah, the Lord coming down to be with Prithu Maharaj. But that's at the end of the story. At the beginning of the story, it definitely didn't seem like he was being favored, felt like he was almost being picked on, you could say, getting chastised and stuff like that. So interesting. Okay, so if you're okay, maybe we can conclude here because I'm really nervous that somehow the record doesn't seem like it's, maybe it is recording. Okay.
It is, because I can see it here.
Okay. All right. I'm just a little worried because it's our first time and I'm doing it on my iPad. So thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, for tolerating us. We just have become so attached to reading Bhagavatam that even absence from each other, which has happened before, but we've always managed to either read with other people or get readings in before I go, right?
Or read by itself.
Yeah, I don't think, well, you've done that once, right?
Twice.
Okay. I'll have to find those ones because I don't remember watching them. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.